Hi everyone, thank you so much for clicking on my channel. I wanted to share with you guys a foundation and concealer combo that I have been obsessing over all summer long. I haven't really talked about it in any of my videos, but it's been my go-to foundation and concealer every day, special occasion. Basically when I'm grabbing my own makeup and I want it to look perfect, this is what I have been reaching for. So the foundation that I have been wearing is the L'Oreal True Match Lumi foundation. You can get this at the drugstore for about $11. And the color range on this line, they have warm toned, neutral tone, cool toned. So for a drugstore foundation, that's really great that they have such a wide selection. And I love that their packaging comes in a glass bottle and it has a handy little pump. I have been mixing together the colors W12 and N4, and I actually go a little bit heavier on the darker color because what I've been doing for like the last month or so is kind of like reverse contouring, if that makes sense. So I'm going a little bit darker on my foundation shade, and then I am highlighting with my concealer. It'll make more sense in a minute when I show you what I'm doing. But before I put my foundation on, I want to prime my face. Now this foundation is a luminous, very dewy, very radiant foundation. So how I make this work for my oily T-zone is a mattifying primer. I am obsessed with the Benefit Professional Matte Rescue. In fact, I have like almost none left. I'm gonna kind of eke out the very last bit that I can here. I love the gel consistency of this primer. It makes it really lightweight. It soaks into my skin quickly, so I don't have to spend forever waiting for it to dry. And it's just very smoothing, and it really does mattify my skin. I put most of this in the center of my face where I tend to get oily, but I also start to blend it outward and get the rest of my face as well. And then once I've smoothed it all over my skin, I start to pat it into my larger pores, which for me are right next to my nose here, and I really work that primer into my pores so that my foundation goes over top of it very smoothly. So now that my primer is on and has soaked into my skin, I'm going to go in with my foundation here, and I just like to shake this up really well. I go in with like a half a pump of the lighter color, and then I go in with a full pump of the darker color, and I mix them together on the back of my hand. It's like a little foundation cocktail situation going on here. And I'm just going to distribute the foundation all over my face by placing little dots. I just find that applying my foundation this way helps me to get the most even amount of coverage, and it helps me to keep the layer of foundation pretty thin so that it doesn't get cakey. I would have to say that one of the number one things that I love about this foundation is that it is super lightweight and it does not settle into my fine lines. It is a lighter coverage foundation, but it's buildable. So after you put on your first layer, you can add a second and maybe even a third layer to build it up to more of a medium coverage. But I like to just go in with a very thin layer to even out my skin tone, and then when I go in with my concealer, that's where I'm going to get more coverage. So now that I have on a light layer of foundation, you can see that it is a little bit darker than the rest of me, but that's okay because I'm going to go in with a lighter concealer to, like I said, kind of reverse contour. The concealer that I've been using with this foundation is my MAC Pro Longwear concealer. This is such a good classic. It's a full coverage concealer. It dries down completely. If you apply it and set it correctly, it won't crease underneath your eyes. And it is a matte finish. So for me, since I'm using such a luminous foundation, having more of a matte concealer in my T-zone is just gonna kind of control any oils that are gonna try to come through. So I take one pump of NC20 and one pump of NC15 and blend those together on the back of my hand. And I start to dot that in the center of my face. And then I'm going to put this right underneath where I would put my contour to brighten that area. And then I'm going to blend this out using my sponge. And you can see that since we used a darker foundation, when we put this lighter color here, it just kind of creates a natural contour. This concealer does dry quickly, so I make sure that I work quickly. Otherwise, as it starts to dry, it becomes more difficult to blend out. I like to blend the concealer all the way up to the sides of my nose and down, so it kind of creates a triangle of light so that we keep intact that contour that we've done. So now that I have all of that concealer blended out, you can see the subtle contour that remains just around the edge of my temple here, along my cheekbone, and also along my jawline where I didn't blend the concealer over top of that foundation, and it just really creates a natural and subtle contour effect. And this concealer gave me extra coverage where I want it, rather than caking on a bunch of foundation as my first step and then putting concealer on top of that. That's gonna give my overall face more of a heavy feel, whereas going in with the lighter foundation and then just going in with the concealer in the places that I need more coverage really just gives me more of a light texture overall. This combination never ever ever looks cakey on me. It lasts all day long, and it looks just as beautiful in person as it does on camera. Because the foundation is so radiant and luminous, it just gives you such a healthy glow from within. I do set my whole face with powder, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna set my face with powder, do the rest of my makeup off camera, and I will be right back. So I've done the rest of my makeup, and to set my foundation and concealer in place, I used my RCMA No Color Powder. This stuff is so finely milled and so undetectable on your skin that it just is the perfect powder in my opinion. And then to set everything in place, I either use my NYX Matte Finish Spray or my Ole Henriksen Grease Relief Facial Water. And it just causes any powdery residue to just kind of melt into your skin and make your skin look very smooth and skin-like. This foundation is so good for dry skin all the way to combination oily skin. So if you are a combination or oily skin girl, I've showed you some things in this video today that are gonna help you get the most out of this foundation for your skin type. If you have dry skin, you could just slap this foundation on and go, and it's gonna just make you look so healthy and luminous. But this combination right here has just been my holy grail makeup for this summer. I've been grabbing for these two products more than anything else in my collection, and the final result is just beautiful, flawless skin. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I love you all so much, and as always, I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.